Mr. Speaker, the question on many Canadians' minds is when will they become fully vaccinated? So, by what date will enough vaccine doses arrive to Canada so that every Canadian who wants one will become fully vaccinated?
Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we have been saying since last year that everyone in Canada who wants to will be fully vaccinated by the month of September. It is very possible that we are able to do that even ahead because we are doing so well on vaccine deliveries. We will continue ensuring that people can get vaccinated as quickly as possible because for a one-dose summer and a two-dose fall, everyone needs to roll up their sleeves and get their shot.
The Honourable Member for Kildonan St. Paul.
Mr. Speaker, the federal government has presided over the delivery of unclear and changing advice on the AstraZeneca vaccine, and there have been really supply problems with the company that the federal government has not addressed, and now some provinces have stopped the utilization of this vaccine altogether. So for Canadians who have received one dose of AstraZeneca, what happens to them now? Should they be getting a second dose of AstraZeneca? Will they be able to, or should they be getting two doses of Pfizer or Moderna, or will there be some sort of mix or combination of vaccines? It's been really unclear from this Liberal government what are the steps forward for AstraZeneca. So I would ask for clarity from the Prime Minister on this.
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, for absolute clarity, every vaccine approved in Canada by Health Canada is safe and effective. And Canadians who got any dose of any vaccines have been doing their part to reduce cases. It is a good thing moving forward. Scientists and health officials are leaning in carefully on what the next steps are and what the best recommendations are going forward. And we will ensure that they work closely with provincial health officers on delivery of the doses that are needed for Canadians in the coming months.
The Honourable Member for Kildonan St. Paul.
Again, Mr. Speaker, I don't know if the Prime Minister is refuting what the provinces of Alberta and Ontario have announced with AstraZeneca, but it's, again, really not clear. So I'm just going to ask him again for clarity concerning the provincial response and what he said and his advisors have told Canadians. Again, will folks who've received the first dose of AstraZeneca, like himself, will they be able to receive a second dose of AstraZeneca, or will they be receiving two doses of Pfizer or Moderna? Are they going to be getting some combination? Like, it's been very unclear from the get-go on this vaccine. So I'm just going to ask again from the Prime Minister for some clarity on the AstraZeneca vaccine.
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I don't believe that politicians should be delivering health advice, but the best advice that I have heard from my doctor and others is that people who've received one dose of AstraZeneca can very well get a second and should very well get a second dose of AstraZeneca. As recommendations change, as people are looking at different courses and options around the world, we will have more data and continue to update people on the recommended path forward. But I can assure everyone that those of you like me, like the Leader of the Opposition and other party leaders who got AstraZeneca, did the right thing and will continue to be well cared for in the ways forward.
I'd like to carry on with a line of questions my colleague just asked. The Prime Minister received his first dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. Will he be getting a second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine, two doses of Pfizer or Moderna, or one dose of Pfizer or Moderna in the future? Which one will it be?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I thank the Honourable Member for Nose Hill for her questions about my well-being. Let me assure her that I talked to my doctor just last week. He recommended that I indeed get a second dose of AstraZeneca in the coming weeks or months when it becomes available, when my turn comes up in the month of Ontario, in the province of Ontario. That is what I am focused on doing. I know there are questions being asked around the world about the data that involves mixing and matching doses. There are no recommendations around that yet, but I know scientists are leaning in carefully to see if it may be the right option for many people.
Honourable Member for Calgary Nose Hill.
Is the Prime Minister and the government recommending that people who received the first dose of AstraZeneca get a second dose of AstraZeneca with that comment he just made, or is he advising them to contact their doctor?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
The Prime Minister and the government don't make health recommendations. That's not my job. My job is I shared, for example, what the member asked, what advice I personally got from my doctor. I certainly encourage all Canadians to talk to their doctors, who will then be informed by experts and doctors both in their jurisdictions, in their provinces and territories, and by the national guidance from NACI and from Health Canada. That is the best way to move forward. Don't take recommendations from politicians, particularly not Conservatives. Take recommendations from your doctors and the experts.
The honourable member for Calgary Nose Hill.
Well, the experts are the regulators at Health Canada and NACI, which both report into the government or the Prime Minister. So the Prime Minister just stood up in the House and said that he would be getting a second dose of AstraZeneca based on his doctor's advice. Based on the experts in Health Canada and NACI that report into him, would he stand by that advice?
Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I highlighted that I spoke with my doctor, and he said that he is expecting that in the coming weeks, whenever that comes up, I would get a second dose of AstraZeneca. He will, and others will, of course, be following the updated guidance that I'm sure will continue to evolve from recommendations by experts on what the right path forward is. But Canadians need to be reassured that every step of the way, their health and safety is at the forefront of all recommendations, and every vaccine distributed in Canada is approved by Health Canada because it's safe and effective.
The honourable member for Calgary Nose Hill.
Again, Health Canada and NACI report into the government, the Prime Minister. He would have access to their advice. He has access to a family physician's advice, which many Canadians do not. So I'm wondering if he can tell Canadians who, like him, received the first dose of AstraZeneca two things. If they should be waiting for supply to get a second dose of AstraZeneca based on what Health Canada and NACI said, and whether or not AstraZeneca ever plans to deliver a dose of vaccine to Canada, but particularly, should they be waiting to get their first dose of AstraZeneca, as his family physician advised?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, vaccines are rolling out across this country right now. We will have received 50 million doses of vaccines by the end of June. We will continue to make recommendations. We will continue to see Health Canada, NACI, and provincial deciders making recommendations about how and when all Canadians can get vaccinated. But I will take this moment to thank everyone who stepped up and got a first dose of vaccines, congratulate those many who've already received their 2 doses of vaccines, and encourage everyone else to get vaccinated as soon as possible so we can have a much better summer.